Jim Ross, on his podcast, talked about the six-man main event match time being cut at All In from 28 minutes down to 12 due to time constraints and other matches running long. That was the Kota Ibushi Young Bucks against Rey Mysterio, Phoenix, and Bandito match. And this is what Jim Ross said, because he went all in on the people who caused the main event to be cut short. This is what he said. He said, the last match was cut from 28 minutes to 12. That's because the guys before them were trying to get their own shit in, and they went over. It's not funny, really, because all they did was rob the main event and matches later on of time, and those matches are in those spots for a reason. And JR said that he found that to be selfish and unprofessional. And he says, better they work for these guys, those guys being Cody and the Young Bucks, and not for me. Wow. Apparently JR was very triggered by the All-In main event being cut, match time-wise. Marty Scurll was very upset because people were crucifying him and Okada, mostly Marty. You notice, you don't see very many people yelling or bad-mouthing Okada. It seemed like a lot of people were upset with Marty for disregarding cues from ringside to go home, and their match went almost half an hour. It went something like 26 or 27 minutes. Now, the reason people maybe were going after Marty so hard is on the show you could hear, I think even from home on commentary, and especially if you were sitting at ringside, you could hear someone yelling Marty at ringside over and over again to try to get his attention. And he was in the zone. Him and Okada both, they were just ignoring whatever cues they may have been getting. Now Marty, contrary to what's been reported, he denies this and says, look, his match, the reports are that it went something like 12 minutes over its allotted time. He says not true. He says they actually only went a minute over. 60 seconds is all that they went over in their match time. He says it was other matches that went over, not his. And he says before they went out to the ring, Nick Jackson told him and Okada, look, do whatever you do, don't cut anything. Just do what you do. Even if we go dark, if we have to go dark tonight, it's fine. Just do what you got to do. And those guys are all friends. Why he would go public and say that one of the Young Bucks said something if he knew that that's a lie would make no sense. So I assume that that's what he was told. Now, the Joey Janela match with Hangman Page went apparently about 4 or 5 minutes over time. According to the Observer, Janela felt really bad about that. But I guess with Scurll, it depends who you believe. But there are people, definitely trying to... If you go back and watch that match, there definitely were people trying to get his attention. And the two of them were just having none of it. And I blame the Cody match, too, because, that blade job that he did took forever. And that killed a good 5 minutes right there. So I think it's not fair to kind of put the blame on one person or one match. There's probably plenty of blame to go around. But look, shit happens, right? Shit happens. It's the first time that these guys were running a show. This was only supposed to be a giant independent show. It turned into a big production with pay-per-view and live streaming. And, when that happens, the minute the show got on pay-per-view, and I'm glad it did because I had the chance to watch it, but the minute that happened, they were fucked because they were going to have only so much time, and you can't have the show go off the air with the main event still in progress. You can't do that, right? This isn't Monday Night Raw from 1993 with Undertaker wrestling Skinner as they fade to black with Vince McMahon promising to show us the outcome of the match next week, and then they never do. You ever notice that? A lot of times when they would say that, we'll bring you the conclusion of this match next week. They never did. They just completely forgot about it. But I still think even at 12 minutes, it was one of the better 12-minute matches you'll ever see. But this is not a unique circumstance here. Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, they went way over their allotted time for their ladder match at WrestleMania 10. They got chewed out backstage for it by Randy Savage. Because they went so long and an entire 10-man tag had to be cut from the show because of it. I could see why those guys would be pissed. Triple H and The Rock, they famously ignored cues from the referee and they went over their allotted time for their ladder match at SummerSlam in 98. And that cut time from the main event, which was Stone Cold against The Undertaker, which is one of the biggest matches you could put together in the Attitude Era. And I think that match actually did suffer because of that, because I don't think that was a really all that great of a match. Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, and Kurt Angle had the quickest triple threat for a world title that you'll ever see. At WrestleMania 22, they went about 9 minutes. I wonder if he thinks that Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels were unprofessional for going 20 minutes in their match earlier on that same show. I don't think it was anything sinister on anyone's part. I don't think there was an agenda that people, before they went out there, they kind of rubbed their hands together and said, I gotta get my shit in. It was their first time running a show like this. They've learned from it. If they do it again, hopefully that, something like this won't happen. They'll lay the show out better. Maybe they won't have as many matches. But I think, for that reason, you got to cut those guys some slack.